Hello and good evening and welcome along to the reality check once again on a Monday evening with me, Bluebus. It's the 3rd of September 2012 as we hit September. Welcome along, guys. Hope everybody's good. Nice to see a couple of people in the chat this evening. Hope you're all doing well. Hope you can hear me loud and clear. And like I say, welcome along to the show once again. My look at the past 7 days, what's been going on around us, the news stories coming out across the world, looking deeper into things, getting to, the truth if we can, or some semblance of the truth, avoiding the fear and the and the nonsense that's put before us, trying to sift through the shit basically, and trying to find something that can resemble some kind of what they're really doing kind of thing going on. But welcome along anyway. Like I say, Bluebus here once again. Hope everyone's had a good week. And yeah, let's just get straight on with it then, I suppose. I mean, the thing that I've been looking at and been thinking about the last couple of days is earthquakes. I've been having all these sort of weird kind of thinkings about earthquakes, and it happened last week when I mentioned on the show the news story that came out of Activist Post last week. And that was saying that there'd been something like 160 quakes just last week, and the last 21 hours, that was last week. So movement and shaking is going on big time. So something that I've also been looking at as well, and we've mentioned it on here before, which is the Louisiana sinkhole, and that is causing some concerns. And there's, looking at some other information I saw today, is all kind of linked in to the shifting of the plates and the massive amount of earthquake activity we're actually having at the moment. And basically, out of Louisiana, like I say, we've gone through this story a little bit, but some interesting little notes about it, which I didn't know, was regarding where this, what's actually nearby, and how this has happened. Saw quite an interesting video today by Dutch Sense, I think it was, on YouTube. I don't know if he's good or bad, but I looked at the video and found it quite interesting information, and it kind of got up all the maps, the stuff that I sort of haven't done myself, but he's done the hard work for us, guys. So I had a look at his vid, and very interesting. And some of the things that did come out with the story, which I wasn't aware of until I looked a bit deeper into it, was the fact that it's to do with salt domes. It says here that I'll get onto the salt domes in a minute, but it says the sinkhole is close, apparently, to a well which contains 1.5 million barrels of liquid butane, which is obviously a highly volatile liquid that turns obviously highly inflammable upon release. And it says if that well is breached, the parish sheriff Mike Wakespack has said it could be catastrophic. That would certainly, sort of, I slightly underplay the word catastrophic, but it would be a massive disaster in that area if any of that actually did ignite and go off. It says the salt cavern, which is where this stuff is stored, is part of the Napoleonville salt dome that sits under the area. Salt domes are large ancient formations of salt in the ground that are used for commercial mining of petroleum, salt and sulfur, according to the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers. It says Texas Brine says it mines salt domes to produce brine, a salt-filled water used for the manufacture of chlorine and caustic soda, which in turn are used in products ranging from paper and plastics to pharmaceuticals, etc., etc. So salt domes can be as deep as 10,000 feet and are mostly found along the northern coast of the Gulf of Mexico and in Texas and Louisiana, according to the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration. It says Louisiana has more than 100 identified salt domes, according to the State Department of Natural Resources. It says the company conducted ground imaging of the dome and well Thursday and plans to do satellite imaging, etc., etc., etc. It goes on, but the whole point of it is these. This sort of, because I looked into the story, I didn't go too deeply into it. It's so much going on, things go past you, and there's certain other little things happening as well, which I'll get into in a sec. But with regard to these deep salt mines, them storing sort of highly flammable liquids and all sorts of waste, nuclear waste, and there was reports coming out that there could be nuclear activity, or they've measured nuclear radiation from that area. So it's not looking good. So if these sinkholes are the other side of that plate, that fault line, which runs the other side of the state, and it encompasses it all, and it's putting pressure on these areas, then that's why we're probably seeing these sinkholes appear, because the earth is shifting and pushing. So it doesn't go well if they've been storing very bad things in there either. So this whole thing could just be, again, another complete catastrophe waiting to happen. But the other story that sort of made me think more, that we're sort of, I'm not trying to be gloom and doom, guys, by the way. It's just something that is happening a lot anyway. We're aware of this information, and the amount and size of earthquakes and the frequency of them, as I've said many times, has increased massively in the last few years. So another story that came out of the BBC, this is in Scotland. A group of pilot whales believed to be those refloated at a Fife beach have been seen between North and South Queensferry. 16 whales died when they became stranded between I can't even pronounce this place. Tywell will tell me off, as he's a Scot. Anstruther and Pittenweem on Sunday. Another was found dead on Monday off the port of Leith. It says the refloated whales were seen near Deep Sea World at 3 o'clock. Reading this all terribly wrong. I'm trying to get my words out here, but basically what it is, the whales have been washed up, 16 of them, and what did make me think as well, we've had some also washed up in America. So we're getting these, again, whales being washed up on beaches, no reason, freak events. I mean, they do say these things happen through, various sonar or electrical signals getting confused with the whales, and they can be put off course. But don't forget, if the Earth's shifting the way it is, these animals tend to sort of, I wouldn't say it's a sign, but what I'm saying. It's interesting to try and sort of think, and I've been thinking about this myself, and just having little things pop in my mind about earthquakes, just random stuff. So it's made me sort of be on high alert. But the one coming out of the US, I've got an actual link to that, so I'll play a little bit from it. If I can find it here, just bear with me. A link coming out of the States today, I think it was. So have a listen to this.
A heartbreaking sight on Florida's western coast. Nearly 24 whales stranded on a beach. Hundreds of people who heard about them came out to help. This seemed like an endless march for volunteers, though, as they tried to save the 22 pilot whales. Many had never seen a whale in the wild before. In the end, it was frustrating and sad to realize little could be done to save them.
They were getting crushed by the waves, and they kept getting turned sideways. Their blowholes were getting covered with water. They were literally drowning, because whales are mammals and need oxygen to survive.
Beached mammal experts took 5 of the smallest whales for treatment because they were determined to be the most likely to recover. They're not sure why they washed up.
Yeah, so that was off the Fort Pierce in Florida, and that was today. So and the story of the whales coming out the beach was yesterday. So little things sort of pricking people, or my sort of imagination or whatever. But it's interesting to think that the amount of quakes and how frequent they've become, and little signs here and there. It's just the way I think, guys. I just think there's a we're on the verge of some sort of big quake. But we shall wait and see. But it's looking more and more like the Earth is continually moving at a more rapid pace. The fault lines anyway, under the surface, and what's happening on top of the surface to benefit the elite. Well, it's interesting you should say that, because I did see a story about Barclays Bank again. Here we go. Barclays makes 500 million betting on food crisis. Obviously, if there's catastrophe on Earth and earthquakes are due or whatever, these these people are profiting, as they always do. Outrageous bank revealed to be major speculator while millions face starvation, obviously natural disasters, earthquakes, and man-made ones as well, or the combination of the two, which I've just mentioned. It's looking good for the banks again. This story came out of the Independent the other day, and it says Barclays has made as much as £500 million in 2 years from speculating on food staples such as wheat and soya, prompting allegations that banks are profiting handsomely from the global food crisis. It says Barclays is the UK bank with the greatest involvement in food commodity trading, and is one of the 3 biggest global players, along with the US banking giants Goldman Sachs and Morgan Stanley. But you can see how these guys are all getting their, grubby little hands into people's disasters and making and profiting in a massive way, as we say many times on here. But to see these stories coming out in conjunction with other stuff, we had the chemtrail video, which we saw documentary the other week, and that highlighted the money that's made from predicting weather and natural disasters traded on the stock market, I'll have you know. And these guys are profiting in the most low, sick way you could probably. It just goes to show the criminalisation, how the minds of these people are. They just do not care. There's just not 1 ounce of empathy in any of these people. They are just... I don't even have a word for them actually, because it won't describe just the level that these people are at, to be betting on other people's misfortunes. But you could say there's people in your daily life who laugh at other people's misfortunes. So I suppose if they were bankers, they would have the same kind of makeup to do it. There's just some people who are just so horrible and that's how it is. But to be putting it straight in your face and telling you, how many more times do we need to be, reminded of what's going on and the bigger picture, and the way that these evil corporations and banks, etc., are dominating and controlling every aspect of our lives, whether we like it or not. Unless, of course, you can step completely out of the system. But not many people have completely stepped out, and it's very, very, it's difficult to do unless you have the finance, of course, to do that. You could live, free in the woods, etc. But could that be for everybody? I doubt it. But we've developed ourselves into a state where we can survive within a comfortable environment, and getting back to nature is a good thing. But I was saying this to people the other day. What sort of, could you live, in a geodesic dome, for instance? Would that be okay for you? Could you manage in that? But unfortunately, some people are very stuck into their little concrete houses and boxes, unfortunately. But that would, maybe they could still stay there and survive within their means around them. I'm sure that's how it will have to be anyway, because we can't all move to the forest, for goodness sake. We can't all go in. There'll be no places left. So, we have to, make do with the situation that we find ourselves in, and make, the decisions based on what's going on around us at the time. And I'm sure that, if things do get bad, the economic situation crashes, etc. We've been talking about this for a while. Sorry, I'm going off track, but you know what I'm like. The whole thing needs, us to be, balanced enough to be able to deal with a major crisis. And the way things are building up, it could be a natural one, it could be a engineered one, and we know, how well they're doing with that, engineering downfalls in certain countries and regimes, etc. It's all part of the bigger agenda, as we know. So, when I see and feel things, I feel that things are building up, and 2012 was always going to be a strange year. And, the things that are happening at the moment, not just on top of the planet, but underneath it and outside. Don't forget our sun and our galaxy, our universe, and all the happenings that have been going on in that part. It's an awful lot to take in sometimes, but like I say, 2012 is certainly rolling along in a very sort of bumpy way, but it's keeping balance, keeping calm, and keeping, a steady head. That's the clue to, if you like, getting through the mire and the mess that's just pummeled at us on a continual basis through our mass media. But I'm going off track. But yeah, like I say, Barclays Bank again making money from other people's misfortunes, and as we know with the LIBOR rate, the fixing scandal, again these stories come out, they very quickly disappear, get shoveled under the carpet, and we all move on to the next thing. The bankers are still doing their banking, and the whole system just keeps churning out more and more debt, and they demand more consumption. So it's do we want to go down that path? No, I certainly don't, and certainly I'm not. But yeah, so it's could it be earthquakes? Who knows? Just putting it out there. It's been something that's been around. Like I say, last couple of weeks the intensity has increased in the US especially, and with this sinkhole, it's looking more and more iffy about the potential for something bad to happen. Hopefully the people are moved away. I know they've evacuated that area. People have moved away, but always be prepared to a degree if you are living in these places which are potentially on fault lines, etc. You have to be prepared to make a quick exit if you need to, because all those people can't get back to their homes now, the ones who've been evacuated, and they would be wishing they would need a bit more thinking on. But it's about information and knowledge, and this is what we're here to provide, hopefully some information and things about what's really going on, and what's really going on around this planet, and it's all interesting. But yeah, I want to move on to something else, but I will play just one. I want to play a piece of music. Actually, I want to play a bit more music tonight. I'm not staying. I might stay over an hour. I'll see how we go. But I want to come back and change the subject. I want to get into something a little bit more different. But what shall we play? Yeah, let's have this one, and I'll be back in a minute. Hi and welcome back. It's the Reality Check with Bluebus on Monday evening. It's just on nearly the half hour. And like I say, welcome along, guys. Hope everybody's doing well. Yeah, it was a bit of Bob Marley for you, a bit of positive vibration after the gloom and doom of earthquake possibilities. So yeah, I want to move on to something else. Something that I saw today when I was looking through, and this one just came up last minute. Actually, I just saw this. 10 signs that you are fully awake, which is the activist post. I just chucked it in the chat before, thinking ahead. Yeah, it says basically 10 signs that if you are sort of at these levels, I'm sure everybody is in here, or everyone listening on pod. I'm sure when I read these out, it's the basics really of knowing what's going on and how you look at the world, and where you should be at really if things do happen and changes do come and they're radical and we're having to do it ourselves. These are the sorts of things that should be going on in your head, or at least you just should be trying to get there or understand something. It says the first one, it says there's no meaningful difference between major political parties. So it doesn't matter where you are, which country you're in. Political parties, democracies are set up, they're puppet governments. Do you looking into it? We all know this, but that's the first sign, to know you're being governed by basically corrupt and terroristic governments, which they all are really, or have been. I can't think of any that aren't, but I'm sure there is. But the ones that I'm thinking of, as you know, are the UK, the US, Russia, China, the big sort of players, if you like, the ones who, basically between them or a few at the top are pulling all the strings. So you have to basically understand that there is no difference between left and right, Labour over here and Conservative, Democrat, Republican. There is no difference. They're all one and the same. And the more quickly people understand this, the better we can get some kind of changes going. because they'll know that this system and the way it's run is needs a completely new model. We have to completely throw that one away. Yes, it's done now. We've had our chance with that, and all we've done is basically nearly destroy ourselves. So to get to that understanding is key, really, for you to open up your awareness and see what's really going on. And that's so important. It says here on number 2, you understand that the Federal Reserve, or international banking more broadly, is the engine of our economic problems. Yeah, which again, governments controlling the money, and the banks and the governments together in cahoots, all of them criminals. They're all basically running the same show. And again, understand money, understand how the banking system actually works. What is fiat currency? What is debt? How money is created? Quantitative easing? All these areas, really. If you're getting there with that, then great. But it's just one step on. The next one, what preemptive war. Sorry, it says that preemptive war is never necessary. So yeah, wars. We all know that war is bad. Number 4, you're being systematically poisoned. Yes. Yes, systematically poisoned in the mind and in the actual food you eat. It's a sort of two-way battle. It's a war basically on us, and others have said this, and I agree. It's the war is different now. We had our major wars, we had our, but our main war is upon the people. And unfortunate people are in the middle of war as we speak, in the middle of conflict. And others are in a war on their mind and body in another way, working at a different angle. The dumbing down of people. The sort of war on their minds and what they think, the propaganda war. The whole shaboodle, really. And it also says, that the mainstream media, yes, well, we know this. It's to say this week in, week out. The mainstream media is number 6. Understand the fact that the same people who control your government control your media too. And again, these are all things that people just dismiss instantly, and don't do any further investigation into it. And there lies them stuck in that little zone of reality that they're in. They think this is all real, and if the man on the telly says it, it must be real, without questioning anything more deeply about it. So you get to that level, the media's a bunch of bastards, then you're on the right path. Number 7, it says that your neighbours are not your enemy, even if you have fierce ideological disagreements. That's so true. This is what they want. They want people to be against each other, separated, fighting against each other, over the most pettiest, smallest things we could think of. Said this many times, over silly things, sports, cars, clothes, accents, colours, racism, nonsense of this nature that is just kept to, keep us apart, keep us separated, keep us suspicious about one another. And obviously money helps, fuel that kind of reality for people. The more they have, the more they want. They feel better than other people. They raise their mental status, thinking they have a say, thinking they can, basically do whatever they like. We see this, our politicians running amok, our millionaire politicians in the UK, I'm sure in the States as well, and other countries. These wealthy, overpaid wankers who basically, couldn't fucking organise a piss-up in a brewery, running our country. Sorry to say it so harshly, but it's true. They couldn't organise anything, and the only thing they are good at doing is bringing it all down. They're not good at actually building or creating anything new. So, yeah, that's the next one you have to get to. Don't fall out with your neighbours if you can help it. Obviously, if people are a total disagreement, then you let them have their opinion, but don't judge them on that, and they shouldn't judge you either, but I'm sure that they would. But that's their issue. They deal with that energy. But know who you are and never have any major issues with anybody, really. The only major issue I have with things is the people who are running our government, the Queen, the people who assume higher status than myself. They're the people I have a problem with. The people who think that for some reason they can rule over you or bark orders at you. They're the people I would quickly sort of try and sort of bring down to the level they should be at, which is all equal. Nobody's any better or any worse than anybody else. Not having disputes with your neighbours and your community, because if it does go down, guys, these are the people who we're going to have to be getting along with, and hopefully they'll have come to some realisation themselves at some point, and I think we could band together and get through this shit, if at all, when they decide to pull any kind of economic plug on it or anything else that may happen. Like I say, we just don't know. There seems to be an awful lot building up at the moment, so let's just see if we can just ride the storm and see what happens. But it says here, number 8, you know that the end game in one world control... Sorry, I'll say that again. You know that the end game is one world control of planet Earth. Yes. The end game, the ruling elite want to completely control and govern every conceivable aspect of your life. And if you don't believe me, you've not had your eyes open. They're doing it already in many cases, and people are resisting. People are finally saying we've had enough, and are getting clued up, are getting some power back, are taking some responsibility for themselves. And that's so important when you get to this sort of understanding. You are now accepting total responsibility for your actions. That's what you're doing when you know who you are. You accept who you are, and you take responsibility for who you are. And that's something that people tend to forget when they come into a sort of waking up. I mean, it's just kind of... I've seen it myself over the years. You get to the banking system, and there's, like I say, there's the other steps to go. And people just need to remain just, again, just within themselves, and know that... it is about standing in your power. It really is. It's about standing in your power, but not egotistical power. And that's where people need to get to. They need to get to the heart chakra. They need to get to that the center, which is where we're all heading. If you don't believe me, then I don't care. But that's where we're all going, guys. We're all going to the heart chakra. So that's where everything is. That's the balance. That's the love. That's where we're going, and that's we're going there, kicking and screaming. But we'll get there, whether people want to or not. Eventually, they will get there, whether it's many lifetimes or whatever it may be for them. But they will eventually get to that point of balance and understanding, and that's what I think is available to us on this planet right now, with the information we have, with everything that's around us. We have the opportunity to become balanced and to become a bit more, let's get, not us, but, the masses, so to speak, let's just start growing up. Let's start, acting like mature adults instead of these stupid, dumbed down fools that we see. And it's, again, these are the people who are going to be dragged there kicking and screaming, because eventually they'll get it. They will get it. But yeah, that's... number 9 on the list. And number 10, it says the power to change the world rests with you and you alone. Just what I was saying, self-responsibility. It's up to you. How do you think? What is your thought processes like? Are you a negative thinker? Are you a positive thinker? Do you wear the mask? Do you take the mask off? Are you showing the world who you are? Or, do you want to hide away or not tell people, whatever? And this is what a lot of people are like, unfortunately. They put on the mask, but, that's why people like me and others like us are not very popular in those kind of social situations where people are all wearing masks and pretending, and I just feel the need to get out of there really quick, or I'll end up offending somebody at some point just by saying one sentence, and that'll be the end of it. Time to get my coat, kind of scenario. So yeah, that's the thing. Know who you are, and people don't want to go there. They're absolutely shit scared of going there, of facing up to who they are. It's a tough journey. It's a long journey. It's a never-ending journey, but it can be as pleasant or as uncomfortable as you make it, as you wish it to be. And with everything happening right now, we're in a very positive energy phase. What you give out, you will get back. So what you're giving out is very true. It's the old laws of attraction again, being played out even more powerfully in this time zone that we're in. The laws of attraction. What you're thinking, like I say, your thoughts. You're positive. I mean, I can't be positive all of the time, but it's kind of how you look at your instant first reaction to something. That tends to give you a kind of level at where you're at, of judgmentalism, especially. That first, whatever it may be, or people judge, like I say, people judging you in such a harsh way, or even to the point where people just say, I don't like that. Well, fine, you don't like that, but we're so conditioned, and this is how they've got everybody to say, I don't like that, so you must stop doing it. But that's not the case. It depends what it is. If it's not causing any aggravation, harm or loss, whatever you want to call it, I'm not breaking any law, then you need to leave me alone. But the unfortunate thing is we've been brainwashed and propagandized so much by all of this that we feel we have to set up neighborhood watch schemes, etc. These kinds of things. Watch everybody. See something, say something. In America, all these campaigns are designed to snitch on your neighbors or snitch on your friends, or I see it in the workplace. People doing the same thing. It's awful. It's people think they have a duty to report somebody for doing something. Maybe it is even coming in late or whatever it may be, something ridiculous. It's the level people are at, is what I'm trying to say. The person who's told it's good to report things, it's good to tell tales, it's good to come to me because I am the teacher, I am the leader. You must tell me everything. So it's a kind of way we've been brought up. But a lot of us now, obviously, see through that bullshit. And I don't think I've never been anybody who's gravitated towards that kind of person anyway. Somebody like that, a goody, what I call a goody little Matrix 2 shoes dweller. Who's doing very nicely. Well, good for them. But don't push all your crap onto me either. I don't, again, it's individualism. It's who you are. It's what you want to accept, and knowing yourself and understanding that part of you, and confronting those issues and dealing with them in whatever way you can will help you to feel a lot less stressed out and a lot less low energy more than anything. And it's not like I walk around myself all day with my head in the clouds going la-di-da-di-da singing hippie songs. No, not anything like it. It's just an inner balance and knowing that you're dealing with things, you're in the now. You're not thinking about what you did yesterday. Well, if it's important, you have to remember something. But what I'm saying is you're not living in the past. You're not living in the future. You're trying to live in the now and trying to see which direction as a humanity we're all kind of heading. And the way that the ruling elite would have it is that they want to go in their direction, and if you don't come, we'll beat you over the head. That's the sort of situation we've got at the moment going on, especially with the police and the way that we've seen lots of police brutality, and it continues, and it seems to be getting more ferocious, especially with some of the videos I've seen recently, and more blatant as well. They really don't give a shit if you're filming now; they'll just lash out. And we've seen this right across the, not just in the States, but over here as well. So, we've got people in all these situations where we're trying to deal with everything. So it's like I say, it's not an easy path, but it's about finding some balance, something that's good for you. And sometimes as they are doing it in their little steps of control, you must also, as you awake, do it in your little steps, because you can't go from A to Z in the awakening process, because your head will explode. Believe you me, it will. You can't know everything. And the number 9, I think I missed one out. The one I wanted to get to was you recognise that there are esoteric powers manipulating our physical world. Now there's a whole rabbit hole just in itself, an endless esoteric hole, just of nothing, going on forever. But yeah, it's that's the other side of it. Like I say, you can't know everything. It has to be small steps, and it's a gradual sort of unfoldment of your own self, if you like, understanding it, like peeling back layers of an onion, and there's many layers, and you have to take your time. And patience is something, and I see many people who sort of get into something and they get carried away, and etc., etc. And it's about just where you're at yourself, and what sort of where you're led. And like I say, there's lots of different steps up on the way. And the esoteric side of it, my goodness, well, once you get there, you'll come to it at some point. Believe you me, you will get there either first or at some point in this understanding of everything, the banking system, your governments. You will, and you might think I'm crazy for saying it, but you will end up in esoteric or spirituality, kind of knowing who you are, energy, this kind of thing. That's where you will be led to. It's just the natural progression. It's the universe telling you this is how we're going to evolve. This is how we're evolving. The species is evolving. We are becoming more aware of who we are and what our true power is. And something that's been denied us for thousands and thousands of years. And more so, as they're ramping up their pressure on us to conform. And anybody speaking outside, like me, I'm a crazy, loony conspiracy theorist, as Lee used to say back in the day. Heard a few little clips from that the other night of the Evolution show. But yes, the world of the crazy conspiracy theorist, yes. And that's how they're trying to do it. But when you think of it, a balanced, mature person, it's critical thinking. It's thinking. It's thinking for yourself. It's taking pieces of information and working out, what's going on. And this is what it is. It's nothing conspiracy. It's just pointing out holes in a story that don't make any sense. You can't. It's almost like reading a crime novel or something. It's like these guys are artists at writing their propaganda in the news, and you can see. There's no evidence to back up most or some of what they say, so they're lying. So anybody who's lying to you, and it's proven that they're lying to you, well, there you go, opens up the floodgates then, doesn't it? What else are they lying about? And it just goes on and on and on and on. And then at some point, like I say, you will end up wanting to know who you are. And why, ask the questions, what's going on? How do people do that? How does this? How's that? You will ask the questions. And things will be happening. Any strange dreams recently? Ah, yes, I know somebody had a strange dream. Things that are happening around, things that aren't making sense, but little kind of synchronicities that are appearing, things that you notice, things that are happening, things that you think of that suddenly, that happens. They're all reminders and telling you who you are, and the real power that you do have, the real abilities that in all of us, in every single human being on the planet, and we've been led to believe that status has separated us all. Like I say, we can't even speak to our neighbours, or we can't even get on with our family, in some cases. So we've got an awful long way to go. It's like I say, hopefully it will be a massive wave of galactic energy will just swarm the planet, and we'll all just go bang. Yes, it's all good now. But if you wait for that, you'll do nothing. It's about making that change within. And like I say, don't wait for a galactic beam or a laser zapping alien to come and do something. No, it's us. It's us. But nothing ever dies. Nothing. It just transmutes. It just changes. So don't fear death. Don't fear all this nonsense that we see and read on a daily basis, and we get fired at us from our mainstream media channels. Don't buy into the fear. And once you can understand that, you can move on in such a big way and clear your mind. And occasionally, yes, you won't be able, like me, isn't you will get good and bad days or whatever it is. But most of the time, you're working towards that goal. You're working towards that, knowing, you're responsible for yourself. You're not giving away your power. You're not letting people extract money from you. And understanding your rights, your legal and your lawful, your differences between the rights and the wrongs, the ones that are real and the ones that they've tried to push on you in a false way, the ones that they've sold to you and told you that they're law to fool you because they think you're stupid, they think you're an idiot. That's why they do it. And when you remind them that you have no other, we're all equal and all this is bullshit, they don't like it. They start to react. But it's too much now. The gates have opened and people are doing more and more looking into this. And whether it's just the fact that that's good enough, and then act, don't let anybody, push you around or demand money from you. If you feel, you can fight that and you feel good about yourself and you can deal with it, then deal with it. But it's understanding the illegal issue of statute law, for instance. That's the point that some people are at now. And like I say, you go all the way round and you keep going and you keep on the journey. Yeah, you'll come back to esoteric stuff. Yeah, absolutely. And number 10, well, I mentioned number 10 because I missed out number 9 for some reason. But there you go. I left it till the end. Yeah, the power to change rests with you and you alone. Yes. And we've said it, like I say. Many people have said it. But, right. What else did I want to yak about tonight? I had a few other little stories that I did see, and I wanted to sort of take off from a bit of what Cookie was saying last week on his show regarding transhumanism and all that stuff. And the story I saw, which made me think on that sort of line again, transhumanistic, and the way the gadgets are being fired at us, and all these latest latest shiny things that we all want to go and get. Sorry, he's taking a drink. It says, is the quantum iPhone around the corner? Researchers claim radical new gadgets could be on sale within a decade, and this comes out of the Daily Fail. Silicon chips that exploit the unique properties of quantum physics could be common components in laptops and smartphones within the next few years, say scientists. Yes, where are they all? British-led technology is set to revolutionize computing using circuits that operate with light instead of electricity, it was claimed. For the first time, they will offer a practical way of harnessing subatomic interactions so strange they spooked Albert Einstein. Yeah, so they're getting into some really scary stuff. It says the result could be blindingly fast search engines, encryption systems that cannot be cracked, and computers vastly more powerful than anything in use today. Super secure communication devices expected to appear in the next 3 years could effectively end hacking and identity theft. So they'll sell it. You get it in that way. You see this. It's this is kind of it. I don't know. It says, and by 2025, quantum circuits might be everywhere, sitting inside laptops and phones, helping to design new drugs. Yeah, they're going to sell all the big, the big part of it, the greatness of it, and it's going to help your life, keeping your bank account safe, sensitive information safe. All the rest of it, they'll sell it in that sense, because that's what they do. It's going to help you. It says it's previously been thought that a large-scale quantum computer will not become a reality for at least another 25 years. Says this Professor Jeremy O'Brien. He obviously hasn't, hacked into the CIA or into the Pentagon recently. They've probably got about 50 of them. It says, however, we believe that using our technology, such a device in less than 10 years will be performing important calculations that are outside the capabilities of conventional computers, the usual spiel. It says an ordinary computer relies on logic gates. Yeah, we know all that. So this is another story regarding I'll post the link in there. I don't know if anyone's seen this. I just caught it today. And they're taking it to the next level, and they're telling you now. Like I say, they've probably had this kind of stuff in in use for, I'd say, quite some time now. But another example basically of man and machine merging in Terminator style. I will be back and all that stuff. Yeah, it's all going on, guys. And when I mentioned it the other day. Someone posted something I saw regarding Deepak Chopra, who's this this guru, spiritual kind of philosophical writer dude. And he's even pushing the transhumanistic agenda in a sort of interview I saw of his the other day. So yeah, it's like I say, happening constantly, and more and more stories in our mainstream are telling you this and getting you used to it, getting you accustomed to it, and not really bothered about your reaction to it either. I mean, another story that again says that a thought-controlled flying drone that could act as virtual eyes for the disabled. Again, coming out the fail, you see. They're really pushing this agenda. It says Chinese researchers have created a quadcopter, a 4-rotor helicopter that can be controlled by thought alone. And this is nothing new. I mean, we have seen these. IBM have been working for some time now on all of this technology, and it's probably their software, no doubt, that's gone into the creation of this quadcopter. But it says the researchers aim to give people with impaired motor abilities a new avenue for interaction, for instance using the helicopter to take a close-up look at objects which are out of reach. And it's very it's very interesting. It's got all the gadgets and gizmos there that you wear on your head, how it links into all your brain waves, EEG patterns, etc. And by thinking look left or turn left or turn right, it will actually perform these functions for you. So these are this is where we're going to be. And I mean, it's, if you take that technology 20 years down the road, if things haven't changed, and I'm sure they will have by then, but that's the kind of technology we're going to be using in our everyday lives. We won't, everything will be done for us. Everything will be provided for us. We won't even have to get out of the chair. And that's what most people are doing almost at the moment anyway, which is why we see a massive rise in obesity. People don't do any exercise. They drive everywhere and sit, and they're sitting when they're driving, they're sitting down, they're sitting when they're watching the television, they're sitting when they're stuffing their faces. And this is the sort of society that they have wanted to create, and we've been nicely led off down there. And when the transhumanistic stuff is being played out, it goes down great guns, because they sell it as, again, in the fact that it will help someone who's disabled. Of course, I'm not against helping people who've got disabilities. Great, fantastic, if it's used in the right way, if it's used for good. But unfortunately, we know that most of this kind of technology will be used to control you. We can see that with the erosion of our rights as we speak. So these kinds of cyber tech things you can wear on your head, which can control things, which can control other machines that could attack you, or there's all kinds of evil possibilities with this kind of technology. These, we see it with the drones. That's just a basic version at the moment. Our drones even going to become normal. When you look in the sky, it'll be normal practice now to look up and see a drone. That'll be happening soon in 2020. They've plans to roll out drones in the UK. So that's a story I saw as well. I'll get you the link for it. But it's all going on. But I'll stick the link in the chat about that one, because that is it's a particularly, again, it just folds into everything else. It's unbelievable. As I posted the link. Oh no, have I just deleted it? No, I haven't. There we go. So have a look at that, guys. Right, it's nearly 9 o'clock. I'm going to play another tune. I managed to sort out some tunes today, you'll be pleased to know. I haven't been playing the same ones I've been playing for weeks and months. Let's see what we got. Let me play. La, 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 la. Yeah, I'll be back in a few minutes. There's another couple of things I wanted to get into, but as it's September, I thought this was apt, an apt song. Cheer us all up a bit. So I'll be back in about 3 or 4 minutes, guys. So I'll speak to you in a sec. Hi guys, welcome back. Yeah, lesson, don't turn off the jingle when it's playing. Yeah, I'll remember that next time. Welcome back, guys. This is the reality check with Bluebus on this Monday evening. It's just gone 9 o'clock. I'm here for whenever I finish, which should be, I don't know when, but we'll just end it naturally as it goes. But welcome back. Yeah, a bit of earth, wind and fire. Yes, the elements. September, like I say, interesting month, September. And obviously we have the 9/11, 11th remembrance of that. And obviously seen lots of stories posted about 9/11. I'm not going to go into it now. But yeah, just September again, like I say, interesting month. Who knows? Anyway, I saw something interesting today which caught my eye. I just wanted to go into this for a little bit. It comes out of Natural News, and something that sort of took my eye when I saw it. I thought, what? It says, beware of hidden toxin sources in new clothes. If you buy new clothes, or you know, obviously you would at some point, it says always wash them before wearing. And this is something that I thought I'll have a look at this. And yeah, it says several decades ago, it says the DuPont logo had the following text attached. It says, better living through chemistry. Yes, and it says since then many of us have come to realize we are living worse. We are living worse in a toxic environment that includes chemically polluted air, water, food, so-called medicine, and now even clothing, it says here. So what they're doing, they are using various chemicals when they make these clothes. It says DuPont has created rayon, which is a synthetic fibre used for much of our clothing, so it made sense to team up with the timber industry to ensure hemp was banned in the late 1930s. So yes, another reason why the hemp plant was removed, because it would be too much competition for synthetic fibre producers, of course, wouldn't it? It says clothing clings to skin. Yeah, we know that, obviously. Toxic chemicals are used excessively for processing garment fibres and also for manufacturing clothes. Asia and third world countries manufacture most textiles, yeah, and clothes. But the interesting part of this was what they actually are doing to the clothes, which I was a bit sort of taken aback by. So severe, it says, after clothes are made, they are often covered with, well, I didn't know this, formaldehyde. And if you know what formaldehyde is, it's an embalming fluid, basically. It's not a very nice chemical. It's used in other uses in industry, things like that, to thin things out. It's a thinner, formaldehyde. If you use paints and things, it's quite a nasty chemical if it's breathed in, on a regular basis. It says keeps them from wrinkling, apparently, and becoming mildewed when they're going to ship them. So obviously they make these things, they store them in the big warehouse, obviously months and months. By the time it hits JD Sports or some bullshit corporate crap like that, it's probably sat in a warehouse for a year or two before it's even been on the shelf in the store. So it says severe allergic reactions to formaldehyde have been reported. It's no wonder investigations have discovered up to 500 times the safe level of formaldehyde in clothing shipped to brand name clothiers from factories in China and Southeast Asia. And that's where, like, we get all our clothes from there as well. So that's where they're all made on the cheap, as we know. This is the free market. Apparently, you get someone to make something for a bowl of rice and sell it for maximum profit, and then they suck the money off us because they've massively inflated the price anyway. But the fact of the matter is, the only winner is the is the corporation. It's not the consumer, and it's not the guy who works for them. But anyways, I'm going off track. It says after commonly used clothing chemicals, another commonly used clothing chemical is something called nolofenol, which is basically known as MPE. MPE use is restricted in most regions where the big name brand clothes are sold, but there are no restrictions where the clothing factories are located in China and Southeast Asia. It says 14 big name brands get their clothing from clothing factories using NPE. It says wrinkle-free or no iron should be considered a warning for carcinogenic pre-fluorinated chemicals, PFCs. Yes, Teflon for pans is a PFC. Petrochemical dyes are used for fibers in those Asian textile factories that profusely pollute nearby waterways. So it's nice to know, isn't it, that if you're buying your clothes, and the advice here is obviously best way to sort of, avoid it if you can is, and people don't do this when they buy something new, they just wear it. They don't wash it until after they've worn it. And the advice here is to is to wash it before you wear it at least 3 or 4 times, according to this. However, I think a lot of this clothing, a lot of this cheap sports clothing I'm thinking of, these cheap footy shirts, the ones that this awful sort of thin material that's used. I'm pretty sure that's the sort of stuff that would, they're talking about, that sort of clothing. Lots of cheap stuff made out in the Middle East there, not Middle East, sorry, out in China, and the Far East. But yeah, just interesting. And another one that came out, which also made me think about this West Nile virus, this apparently outbreak of fear-mongering campaign that's out in America at the moment. It says the U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, the CDC, is currently engaged in a massive fear-mongering campaign that would have everyone in America believe that the so-called West Nile virus is spreading uncontrollably like wildfire, though the CDC admits that only a minuscule percentage of people have a remote chance of contracting the virus. But what's interesting is they're telling people to cover themselves, to protect themselves in DEET. That's D-E-E-T, if you've heard of DEET. It's apparently it's to stop mosquitoes and horrible insects biting you. It's a insect repellent basically. But DEET is a very, 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 very toxic chemical. And if you have been exposed to it, then information like this is good, especially if you, unlike myself, get out of the country much. Yeah, if it's hot or whatever, I mean, we managed to ever get a nice summer in this country, but this DEET, which a lot of people do use and are unaware of, I think, is a horrible, basically nasty chemical. It says it's an insect repellent chemical that was originally developed by the US Army back in 1946 and later made available to consumers in 1957. It is widely used today as the active ingredient in conventional mosquito repellent sprays and is claimed by many to be safe. Behavior-modifying chemical that does not interfere got all that right, is claimed to be safe, is a safe behavior modifying chemical that does not interfere with human health in any way, according to them. It says, but by a 2010 study published in the journal Biomed Central Biology reveals that DEET actually appears to repel mosquitoes and other insects by interfering with the normal function of their nervous systems, rather than just modifying their behavior. Specifically, DEET appears to inhibit a key neurological enzyme, which is a precursor to the neurotransmitter substance acetylcholine. This inhibiting effect is similar to the one brought about by exposure to toxic nerve gas or some other insecticides. It says what this means is that the human nervous system is susceptible to neurological damage from DEET exposure as well, which in more extreme cases can mean permanent brain damage or even death. In other words, encouraging the masses to spray themselves with DEET to protect against West Nile virus is akin to telling a person who works in a battery acid factory to preemptively expose himself to equally dangerous neutralizing chemicals just in case he happens to come into contact with the acid chemicals. Yeah, you can see the double speak there. And yeah, just again another story. I'll stick the link in there. But people who all of these chemicals, I mean, any of these sunscreens, anything like that, insect repellents, it's been known for a while. Anything This is so heavily chemicalized. I mean, they just throw the stuff in there. Your sun creams and your sun blocks and your insect repellents. I mean, it's a chemical cocktail. And if people are using them on a regular basis, I'd suggest look into it and don't use any sunscreen. Just be out in the sun for as long as you can handle it. And again, your own common sense, self-responsibility. You're going to lie out in the sun all day, you're going to get burnt. So you limit your exposure because the sun's actually good for you. You don't need to block out the sun. It's actually good for your skin. It absorbs vitamin D, and that's the biggest source that you can get from the sun. And our bodies are designed to absorb it from the sun. So there's nothing wrong with being out in the sun. The sun is not bad for you. It's just a false bullshit claim by the corporations to sell you fucking sun cream. Hey! Now you get it. So it's, so again, just stories coming out there regarding all this crap that is available, and what people are not realizing, what they're putting, on their body, never mind in their body, because it can just be as harmful outside as in. It still has the same effect. Anything that goes on your skin is absorbed by your body. Yes, it is absorbed. Your body will absorb those chemicals. They don't just wash off, as some people think they do. Just wash them away and they go away. No, your body's absorbing all the chemicals. So even household cleaners, etc. If you're getting your hands covered in Mr. Muscle bullshit crap, then that's going into your body too. So yeah, lots of horrible, nasty things. So I just wanted to, mention a couple of them, and one more before I head off until next week. It says here, Pepsi Cola, yes, good old Pepsi, has decided that aspartame, a neurotoxin used in their diet cola products as a sweetener, is not sweet enough, apparently. And they are testing a new mix of artificial sweeteners that will retain its potency longer than high fructose corn syrup. It says the new mixture of sweeteners being tested includes ascorbyl potassium, the one, or ACE-K. The problem Pepsi has with aspartame is that it is affected negatively in warm conditions that occur during shipping. Oh dear, so they have to find a better one now, one that is even more carcinogenic than the last one that they put in. And this ACE-K, which it's called, is a lab-created chemical that is 200 times sweeter than sucrose. Oh yeah, get that sweet taste. It says ACE-K is suspected through research to have suspected through research to have carcinogenic properties. Yet this studied fact was dismissed. Yes, I can well believe that. And further studies were not conducted prior to the FDA approval. Well, it's the same thing again, isn't it? I mean, once you've opened the floodgates for any shit to go in your food, well, it doesn't really matter. They'll just keep adding in it. And, for goodness sake, they said aspartame was good for you, healthy. Again, just another lie, complete lie. When you look at the evidence and you look at the documentation, the scientific studies, if you don't know them, go and look at them and have a look and see what you would think. And as all scientists who report to government, they always put their own slant on it and say, well, it's safe. And obviously, big money, big corporations, government corporations, hand in hand, there they go. Yes, fascism, here we go, working together. It's just, But anyways, yeah, I'm going off on one. But the fact that they're just adding this stuff, ACE-K, ACE-K, you'll see it on products. I think I've seen it on some drinks over here, as I'm looking if I'm buying anything for myself. Yes, and it's not a good, not a nice chemical. It says in testing performed on rats, ACE-K was shown to stimulate dose-dependent insulin secretion. In further studies, ACE-K provided more of a danger to male rats than female rats with regard to their signal toward being cancer-producing. Says the chemical has a very strong aftertaste, and to combat this phenomenon, it says Kraft Foods began using sodium ferrolate to mask its bitterness. So just throw in a bit of that as well. And aspartame has been proven to be highly addictive because it causes actual cravings for the toxin. Yeah, it's a excitotoxin, which is what it does. It excites you. It's why people get addicted to junk food. because this is what they all sort of contain, these chemicals, these excitotoxins that give you that, that I need more, with the MSG thrown in as well to keep you hungry as well. It says aspartic acid, also known as aspartate, acts as a neurotransmitter in your brain. It facilitates the transmission of information from neuron to neuron. It says excessive amounts of aspartate in your brain kills neurons by permitting the invasion of massive amounts of calcium into the cells. This influx generates extreme levels of free radicals that kill the cells. The neural cell damage is caused by unwarranted use of aspartate. This is why they are donated as excitotoxins. Yeah, that's what I just said. So I'm reading my own stuff out back to myself, kind of in a weird way. I must have wrote this article and didn't know. But yeah, so I spot these things, start reading about. When I read about it, it's just, you just sort of end up maybe repeating myself a bit. But there you go. But yeah, again though, another good indicator about how things are sold into the mainstream, into your food, and it just goes basically unannounced. And as we see the massive spike in disease rate, cancer rate, etc., you ask the question, is this good for me? Are these products good for me? Am I supposed to be, because they say it is good for me and it hasn't killed anybody, or it hasn't certainly killed anybody en masse, is it still good to take it? It's like the old saying, if I say put your hand in the fire, you're going to get your hand burnt. You are. You know that if it's bad and it's something that's being tested and scientifically proven as a poison, then why on earth are they putting it in our food and in our, like I say, in everything, basically, what we put on our body as well. Chemicals everywhere. Everywhere we go, we're just chemicalized, as I said earlier on in the show. That's another, war on our body, a war on ourselves, which is why it's so important to think for yourself and to stand up and don't take it lying down, stand up and just, if it's in your heart, you say it. And this is the thing, drop the mask, leave the mask behind. It's time to take the masks off. And I know all of us in here listening, we're like that, you say it how it is. Some people will agree, some people will disagree, but again, we agree to disagree on certain things, but it doesn't mean that we can't move forward together, and that's most important. So anyway, guys, I hope you've enjoyed the show. I've had an hour and 20 minutes tonight, so I hope you've had a good one. I'll be back next week, and don't forget to tune in. flippingthepyramid.co.uk is the website, and check out all the other shows as well. Go on the site. The site has been revamped as well, by the way, guys. It's looking really good. Well done to everybody who's done that. It looks really, really good. So check out the site and become a member. Join up and join us in here. Join us in the chat when we're doing the shows live. It'll be really good to see you and to speak with you. So yeah, nice one. So I'll be back next week, and hope you have a good one. Now, what should I play as my last tune for the night? I have no idea, but I will go out with... let's have a look. Should I play out with this? This will be an interesting song. I hope this doesn't... it's a kind of a wake-up song. It's an old Pink Floyd number, but it's only a short one. It's not... I did look at some Pink Floyd today, and a couple of the... I thought, I can't play that. 23 minutes long. That's most of my show on one song, but this one's quite good. It's from The Final Cut, and it's called Paranoid Eyes. So I'll speak to you next week, guys. Have a good one. Flipping the Pyramid.